you, sir. As Professor Gautam Sinha mentioned, that for a movement like Make in India to be successful, there is a need for huge emphasis on quality and sustainability, which is quite similar to lean thinking. And today's symposium will certainly dwell on that. With this, we start today with the theme Lean to Win.
Today, we have with us Mr. Bishwambhar Mishra. Mr. Bishwambhar Mishra is the director of Mahindra Institute of Quality. Mr. Mishra holds a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and a postgraduate diploma in Business Management from XLI Jamshedpur, and has a commendable 45 years of experience in the automotive industry. He has served on the board of the Governing Council of the PEC University of Technology and was the chairman of the Manufacturing Committee, the CII-NR. He also was the president of the Indian Society for Quality and is the current chairman of the Governing Council of PEC, Centre for Consultancy in Engineering, Chandigarh. He is also a board member of Asian Network of Quality. Sir, we request you to please come on stage and share your thoughts with us.
Good morning, everybody. Just take a few seconds to log on to my computer. So, I think the Professor Sinha has already set the tone. Lean manufacturing is nothing but more from less. This is the central theme of lean management. If we see the productive work is very, very tiny fraction of the total output what we generate. And I think if we map and do the value stream mapping of the system, you will know that. At best, the best case could be something around 7-8%. So the scope is huge, and he rightly put up that not only India, the whole world today, if we have to really sustain, we have no way but to think lean. So thank you, sir. Thank you for setting this tone. So I'll start with a sort of as you know, my presentation what I have titled today, because I have been doing this lean exploration for quite a number of years. And therefore, I have titled my presentation which says, My Exploration and Experiments with Lean. Director IIM Kashipur, Professor Gautam Sinha, our faculty members, staffs, dignitaries, guests, my dear young bright students. It's a great honor for me to be here this morning and sharing my experience of lean with all of you. I hope this session will be insightful and useful. I am deliberately not dwelling too much on the concepts and the tools because these are readily available resources from books, from internet, and many places. What I will be talking about is how to implement those theories. So you will see certain concepts I am talking about, and in the case, through a case, I will like to show you how those things can be used. So my focus is how these concepts and tools can be used in the real business situation. To illustrate them, I'll use some case from Mahindra and Mahindra group of companies, and I feel this will be interesting, insightful, and help you in lean implementation. But before I begin, let me take a few moments to talk about Mahindra. Well, friends, Mahindra is a federation of companies with roughly around $16.7 billion turnover right now, having the interest in varied fields of application. you can see from this chart, there is hardly anything left where Mahindra is not there. One of the important sector of M&M is the farm equipment sector, with about $3 billion US turnover, focusing on to the tractors, farm mechanization, and agriculture space. Two divisions of FES, that is farm equipment sector, namely farm division and Swaraj division, which you can see on this organization chart. I will be referring these two businesses in my presentation to show you how this lean has benefited these companies. And it was quite successfully implemented there. Now FES, as I talked about, is the M&M's tractors, is the world's largest tractor company by volume. M&M tractor business produces the largest number of tractors in the world, not by revenue, but by number. It is the only company which has received Deming Award and Japan Quality Award in the whole world so far, tractor company. This is the manufacturing facility of the tractor business. There are 7 locations within India and there are 12 locations outside India where the tractor business is done. This is the global footprint. This slide shows the global footprint of M&M tractor business. Well, with this, you can see the everywhere throughout the globe. There is a manufacturing facility and market and sales facility. With this brief introduction of M&M and FES, I switch off to the topic of lean. So let me start with some historical facts about the evolution and the linkage of lean. Meteoric rise in productivity with best quality by the Japanese company made the world sit up and seriously think about the future of their homegrown industries in the late 80s. Especially the economically developed world like US and Europe, they were very concerned about how their industry can sustain the onslaught of the Japanese. And in that background, an international study mission was set up by MIT, funded by the US government, to study the Japanese miracle. This team studied major auto companies in USA, Europe, and Japan, and came to the conclusion that even within Japan, there was one company, that was Toyota Motor Corporation, who perfected a technique, production system called Toyota Production System, in short TPS, which was identified as the main engine driving the industrial miracle in Japan. The study team was, as mentioned before, named this system lean working or lean production. Based on the finding of this study mission, a book was published. Mr. Womack was the leader of the team, and the book was titled "The Machine That Changed the World." This is basically a treatise of the lean management. I'm sure you must have read this book. So friends, the lean production was named 25 years ago. It has a very strong linkage with Toyota Production System, that is TPS. Well, Professor Sinha talked about, this is called the 3 P's, I call 3 P's of lean. And these are purpose, process, and people. Aligning the purpose, process, and the people is the major task of any management. So actually, if you see you will see in my presentation when I talk to you, you can see that how this alignment of these 3 P's can create a miracle. So the case study, you mark these 3 words, and when I show you that case and when I discuss that case, you can see how these 3 things have been aligned and what is the benefit of this. So this can transform any organization if we do it right. Now the NEEV was the first and the most important event in the mid-80s, which made the people realize the power of TPS and which later was called Lean. I don't know how many of you know about NEEV. Anyone know about NEEV? Well, NEEV was the first manufacturing facilities created by Toyota outside Japan. And this was in collaboration with General Motors, USA. I feel personally after seeing the NEEV that perhaps the American wanted to test the power of TPS, and therefore they have selected an old General Motor plant which was earlier declared as the worst plant of General Motor in throughout the world. This was near California. You can see this plant. I'll show you the picture of this plant. So this was in General Motors study throughout the world was the worst plant, worst labor situation. I don't have that much time, but it was so terrible. And that was the plant given to Toyota. And there the NEEV was tried out. And this experiment was done. In short span of time, this factory was converted into the best plant in US. And thereby the world realized the power of Lean and the power of the TPS. And this is, friends, the NEEV. This is the certificate. From the worst to the best. So there are a lot of learnings in this exercise. Not just talking about how things happened, but I'll also share you some of the 4 powerful learnings from this exercise. And these learnings are: establish mutual trust. No problem is a problem. It looks funny, isn't it? Do you believe? What is the meaning of no problem is a problem? Any guess? Yeah, but see, as a human being, we inherently dislike problems. We never want to face a problem. We always feel life should be all hunky-dory, but it's not, unfortunately. The first thing the Toyota talks, that open out the problem. They say, don't put anything under the carpet. Well, it is said and then done. Even today, very high number of management. I said very high number, very high number. We don't want the people who raise always the problems, appreciate them. That doesn't mean we should encourage people who are deliberately raising the problem. That's not the encouragement. But we should never discourage if there are real problems. Why? The problems is not a problem, it is an opportunity to improve. So this is the total change in lookout. So if you don't do that, you will always be limping as an organization, and ultimately you are going to pay the price for that. So when a problem is raised, it gives you an opportunity as a management to solve the problem. So that's why it is so important. The whole transparent organization, when people feel, unfortunately, many places, the messenger is always killed. We don't want the bad news carrier, and therefore that's the worst type of organization. So therefore this particular, as you can see when I present you the case, and you can see those elements in that. how those things can change an organization. So I'm trying to basically put an emphasis on these theories, mainly for that purpose. That all these reflections, although I knew about this only very recently, I knew about this case very recently when John Shook, who visited India and invited in M&M. It happened so that both of us were taking training in Toyota in the same time, in the same year. And he said, I have your photograph there. So actually, these are the real pearl of the learning. Lead as you are, have no power, is the third. What is the meaning of this? If you don't have any power, how can you manage? How can you lead? So it is not that you should not use power. The problem is, power should not be used first. All of my 45 years of experience, I can tell you, what makes a manager effective is not his official power. What makes a manager effective is his own P factor. It's a very complex thing. It's not one element. How he drives. Same person, same manager, all managers in an organization have the same power. Same general manager, all general managers have the same power. How is that one general manager excels than others? That is the P factor. So this talks about that. It doesn't say don't use power. The power is the last thing to be used. Drive by your personal. And that's how you can see the difference in India today, the change of government. So this is what the third lesson is. And the last and the most important, before you build cars, build people. Again, people is the real, management is a cliche. Talking the people is the most valuable resource. What is the meaning of that? Is the real people so costly? No. We have multi-million-dollar machines in the factories. What is the cost of the people? Why is it so? Why is it said that people is the most valuable resource? What's the reason? The cost-wise, it's not very high. But we know, we are all, perhaps many of us are science background. There's something called a catalyst in a reaction. You know catalyst? What is the role of the catalyst? What is the cost of a catalyst? Nothing. But no reaction can take place if the catalyst is not there. So the people are like catalysts. And that's why it is told it is the most valuable resource in the organization. So this is what the four important lessons. And as I talked about 3 P's, I am talking these 4 things. Please remember. And when you do the case, you can see the element of that. How this has been, although, as I said, I was not aware of this before. The next very important thing I am going to share with you is the Mr. Fujio Sho, the chairman of Toyota Motor Corporation. What he says about the management? He said, senior management must spend time on the front lines. You go to any factory which is practicing TPS, go to Gemba electricity. Everybody will talk, go to Gemba. What is the meaning of it? Unless you visit and watch, not see, watch how the things are happening, you cannot comprehend the real situation by reports, by films, or by my personal experience. I can tell you that it is the really things which makes the difference. He said, use the 5 whys, 5W, you know, why. If you want to reach to the root cause, then you have to ask 5 times why. You try this. If person can reply you 3rd time, it will be great. After 2nd time, everybody will flat. And that's what, and the last, especially people doing the value creating work, you must respect it. So respect for the person who are creating. So therefore, unfortunately, in our country, because of our social makeup, we don't value the people who does work by their own hands. We look down upon them. It's very unfortunate. As a manager, we can never be successful unless we really value them. So therefore, every human being is a human being. We must respect them. And that's what it is. So with this background, friends, now I will be basically talking about, and the case study will illustrate some of these things. Why I set up this background, just to give you a theoretical side of the case. Well, this is the most important slide again. I call it lean iceberg. As in, there are 3 P's: process, purpose, and people. Now, you can see only 1 P is above the water. Rest 2 P's are below it. And this is what is the real problem in the life. There are more invisibles in any organization or any project when you start like lean than visible, as it's seen here. Do you remember I talked about 3 P's? One of the P is, that is process, is visible above the surface of water. In real business situation also, the process and the technologies, tools, techniques can be seen. Also solutions are readily available. It is comparatively easier to learn. But the other 2 P's, that is people, behavior, engagement, alignment, which is shown below the water in the iceberg, are the real invisible in real life situation also. Difficult to comprehend. Unlike process and tools, there is no magic formula or the framework which can be applied uniformly to tackle these issues. So major fault line lies below the surface. And that's how we talk about no problem is a problem. So you know the fault line much ahead before it hits you. It's like a minefield or a torpedo which can derail your whole plan of lean or whatever you do in the organization. So implementation, if not done with apt and tactfulness, most organizations falter here. Most organizations falter on this front, not on the fronts of tool, technique and things like that. So friends, with this, that theory portion is over. Now I will be show some of the major landmark of my personal lean journey. My lean initiation started in 1984 at Toyota Corporation, Japan. Before that, I had 14 years of experience managing the shop floor of Telco, Jamshedpur, now Tata Motors. Working at Jamshedpur, I was always wondering what could motivate a worker to have a good alignment with the company's goal. They were getting very handsome salary, all types of perks, social security benefits, on top of it, being the employee of the most reputed business house in India. Yet, their attitude toward the main purpose of their job, that is achieving high productivity and best quality, well, I may be allowed to say so, was just pathetic. This was also a time when the Japanese miracle started coming into the limelight through media. I always used to wonder what these Japs were doing differently to motivate their workmen. And thus, I developed a very strong desire to go to Japan, where the action was, to have the first-hand experience. As the luck would have it, I got a job with DCM Toyota and went to Japan for long-term training to learn Toyota production system and implement back in India. Believe me, between 1985 when I started this until 1985, despite of trying very hard, it was a miserable achievement. Very dissatisfied. Well, it's not, we don't have time to tell you and analyze the reason. However, though the achievement was not there, but this experiment brought great learning to me, how this can be overcome. In 1999, I got an opportunity to implement lean in concepts in M&M, farm equipment sector, as I mentioned earlier, as it has a very ambitious vision of becoming world's largest tractor company. And at that time when this vision was made, it was nowhere on the radar. Between 2003 and 2010, FES experienced phenomenal growth, received Deming Award, Japan Quality Medal, and also became world's largest tractor manufacturer by volume. This nobody could have believed 10 years back. This particular experience gave a lot of confidence to me that the process could be replicated. Due to time constraint, not possible to discuss about the experiments conducted and the results, failure and success both. But in nutshell, it was a very pertinent exploratory experience. Well, now I come to the application of lean in Swaraj division. M&M acquired Swaraj division in 2010, and it gave me a great opportunity to apply lean principle for transforming the company, as this company was in a very bad shape. This is the organization. There are three manufacturing plants. The PTL was the mothership. This transformation was carried out by using the lean principles and tools. Important thing to watch is how below the water items, as shown in the iceberg slide, were handled to make the company turn around. Please watch that. Well, I go to the major milestone. Some of the important historical milestones of PTL. PTL had the credit of, please understand, it's only company which developed a tractor indigenously without any foreign collaboration or assistance. In the 60s, when the India had absolutely no technology power at all. So just imagine that effort. Even though it was a PSU, it acquired a blue chip status, went into the stress due to inability to change with the opening of the industry. Punjab government divested its holding to a private equity player, and from whom M&M subsequently brought the share and the management control of the unit. Some golden eras of this company. This company, highly profitable, PTL was the darling of the stock exchange. You can see the share price of this company. Its whole equity base consists 92% is because of bonus share. The stressful period started after the opening of the industry in India and the competition, and it fell from second position to bottom of the pyramid. It was sliding rapidly on all the operating parameters. Though acquisition deal was finalized in March 2007, but actual management control happened in July. So the important task for the new management was identify, first understand the 360-degree view of the company's situation before deciding the change strategy. The study was conducted to understand the PTL's image from the outsider's perspective, which included its dealers, vendors, competitors, promoters' perspective, and the employees' perspective. And the tool used was the OD, Organizational Diagnostics. And these were the findings from the outsider's perspective. Stagnant, inward-looking, change-averse. The promoters were highly concerned about the ability and the quality of the management to pull it out. And from the employee's perspective, the organizational diagnostic study revealed that employees were concerned about the job security, growth, overbearing union, It was such a terrible and old management style. And the most important thing which came to light through this study was that employee had an internal pain of losing that pride and glory of the company of the past. You have seen how glorious this company was. And everybody has a pain in their heart. Now these are some of the things which is important, how to actually use those. And the theme of the change management, or the lean, what we say, started with regain lost glory. We said we have to regain the lost glory of the company, which touched everybody. Now, some of the things which you can see, the people issues like absence of zeal, a cog in the wheel syndrome, fear, suspicion, total unawareness of the market condition and the market realities were the very tricky areas to handle. Besides setting vision, direction, changing the management style, what is steering at the management, how to do all these things. Motivating key stakeholders like dealers, vendors, regaining their faith was the most urgent need. And the organization, from people's perspective, was like this. Employees' attitude was of wait until told to do something, and again wait for the next instruction. And we wanted to change it to applying their judgment and taking actions to meet the plan of their own, which was derived through policy deployment. So everybody now has a plan for the whole year, and it is that he has to act as his own. He doesn't have to wait for somebody's instruction. This was our desire. So now I am talking about the transformation strategy. It was very simple, based on 3 words. Instill trust, that was the first thing. Now you can relate with Numi and here, although these things were done differently. The first step was instill trust. And the next was seek first to understand them as a human being, and then to be understood. Unfortunately, most of the acquisition plays. The third happens first. I know everything, so I must do it. You follow it. And that's how, to my opinion, is the most problems. So we avoided that. And these were the steps, how the whole transformation will go. Setting up the vision direction was the first one, followed by communication, which is a very tough task, alignment through PD, becoming customer-driven organization, and so on and so forth. So this is the actual photograph of the vision exercise done on 17th, 18th August. Just imagine 25th of July we took over, and within 3 weeks. The vision was, the employee came out with a simple vision, and the vision was, we want to become top 2 domestic brands. And to give impetus to this vision, a short-term mission was done. This was Mr. Anand Mahindra used this 3-2-3 when we are transforming the M&M. 3-2-3 means in 3 years, double the revenue and triple the profit. That was 3-2-3. So this was the very 2 things, only simply, in that exercise. Now is the biggest task of communicating. The big task before the management was how to communicate to this important stakeholder like employees, dealers, and vendors that the situation in the company was bad and they must know it. Yet at the same time, the communication should be motivating and inspiring to drive them to do something about changing the situation positively. And now you see the 2 contradictions. You have to tell the people you are doing very badly, at the same time you have to tell in a manner that motivates them to do something positive. And that was the challenge. Now how this challenge was answered? After a lot of deliberation, it was decided to communicate through a short film. The message from the film was that fortune is a time wheel, Don't worry about that. If one has a strong determination and ready to work hard, it can be regained. The film was basically, the theme was nothing is impossible. Was the essence of the story. Also some local icons were used like Kapil Dev and Kalpana Chawla. Under such a art, they achieved that height. And an appropriate metaphor like pagadi, which is a symbol of pride in our country, was used to kindle the feeling of working to save the company's pride and regain the past glory. Through a very popular song, actually our basic strategy was not to kill the dragon but winning the princess. We wanted to show them, if you do this, such a glorious thing is going to happen. So this was launched this is the actual photograph of that All India Sales Conference. This film logo was made and the vision, Nai Disha, Nai Manjil. So Nai Manjil was the number 2, but certain directions were set. We don't want to become number 2 by hook and crook. There are certain ways. And that was the basic Hamara Swabhiman Swaraj. This was the basic logo. Now this is the logo and this is the tagline. Hamara Swabhiman Swaraj, Nai Disha, Nai Manjil. And this was launched, and the film was launched to communicate. Well, this film was around 5-7 minute film. Because of time, I can't show you the film full, but I'll show you a clip of that. I hope this is not just entertainment. This is the way how the message can be communicated, a difficult message. However, it is entertaining also, I must admit.
जो किसी भी आम साधारण शख्स को बदलकर खास बना देता है। शरत मंजूर है। आत्मविश्वास और मेहनत से उस चुनौती का सामना करता है और जीत हासिल करता है।
So how did you like? There are no professional actors except those film scenes. They are all employees of the company. The worker, the union leader, the top management, everybody was the actor. So to identify, and every function, everything will start with this song first in the company. So as to, this was very touching. Okay, so I talked about now the manjil was fixed, but the direction is the most important. We don't want to reach the manjil. Those 6 guiding principles were decided. The first was, it must be a customer-driven organization. Now you can see how they are not just slogans, how this has been translated into action. Innovation doesn't mean only product innovation. Anything which you do differently, which is effective, is innovation. Then the participative management culture, process-enabled working, performance centricity was the highlight. We will not tolerate any non-performance. And socially responsible company to the organization and to the society. Now, how the work, the alignment is the most difficult job for any management of 3 Ps, as Professor Sinha also talked. And we use the policy deployment framework, which we have been using earlier, to align this. In this framework, the vision is broken into achievable milestone year-wise, and then a lot of analysis is done. Then we arrive at the year once what is to be done. What are the strategic building blocks through which you can achieve that result? And the strategic priorities from those building blocks. And that is called Chief Executive's policy. And from the Chief Executive's policy, the organization's BSC, balance scorecard, is derived. And then it is deployed, communicated, reviewed and communicated. So this whole process was followed there. The deployment is a very important process, and the process we follow is called catch-all process. So the ideas will come from the top, it will be sent down, they will vet it up, it will send up. And thereby, the policy and the BSc, when it is done, it is not just a one-man thinking. It is a collaborative product. And that's how finally, the daily work management. Every day what I am supposed to do. So everybody will have a goal sheet with it. Now, just deploying, deriving policy is not enough. You have to review and communicate, and it should be done very transparently. Nothing should be hidden. And this is the follow. The policies are reviewed. First, the divisional. Bottom review first happens. Then it goes on the top. And top policy is nothing but aggregation. Thereafter, it is communicated. Communication is done through two channels. One was to the officers and the staff through a platform called Reach Out, and to the workmen through a platform called Chop Out. This is one of the Reach Out's actual photograph, where you can see this policy is put here. Something is achieved green, something not achieved is red. So just after the quarter, once the board meeting is over and the result is published, whole company will know what items we have achieved, what not achieved. Many companies don't dare to open it. They keep it secret. So these are called transparent and remove the carpet. This is the photograph done for the workmen because they work in shifts, so it is not possible for CEO to go everywhere. And all area offices everywhere in the country or outside through a CD, and this is done. Now, becoming customer driven is very easy to say how to do it. There are a lot of things to be done. I just mentioned a few ones. This is called Swaraj Satkar. Means the customers from all over India in batches were called as a company guest for 2 days. They will be taken around, they will also go for sightseeing, they will look around in the factory, show them the new product, and then the topmost management, the CEO himself will be present when there is an interaction. This is one of the things. In that interaction, they will tell what are the drawbacks, because they are using the product for so many years. Nobody can know better than him. I can't expect my R&D engineers, for that matter, to know more than they know. And then the projects were made, implemented, and the tractor will go back. And then the dealer will call them that time and show you what you give suggestion is here. If something cannot be accepted because of reasons, then you have to tell that it cannot be done because of these reasons. And I think this single thing has given such a boost. I will show you some of the results when you go. And next was the process-enabled working, the use of QC tools. These organizations, the people were so loyal, 40 years, 30 years, they were working in the same organization. They have not seen anything, even 1 hour of their training. So a lot of training programs were held. Almost in the first year, 5,000, 6 months, 5,000 training days we spent. It's looking like a training institute rather than a factory. These are some of the photographs of those. Winning the confidence of the dealers and the suppliers. The all topmost dealers were called with their families. They were taken for a dealer conference in India, abroad, so that to generate their confidence. You can see the photograph. The stump dealer. These dealers were almost 25 years with the company. The suppliers. Employees' skill and will was the most. Not only skill development is easy, will development is the most difficult task. And this was again. So you can see the various programs, names, just a clip of that. These are workers on job training. So it was not just the officers in the staff. The recognition, as I was talking about reach out, after reach out happens in the evening, we used to call their family, those who are the best performer for the quarter, and publicly felicitate them. These are some of the photographs of that. Within short time of 1.5 years, these people have started winning an international competition. Went to Japan, even went there. Can you believe it? Now friends, I will be talking about the hardcore result for that, what all is done. Now, you remember 323? So first is this. In 2010, this company doubled the revenue and profit was more than 3 times. This was a record. This is called customer satisfaction. It was at the lowest of the level when it was taken over. And it became one industry's best. Supplier satisfaction, similarly. Employee satisfaction. You can see this graph. And now, the revenue. When it was taken over, the revenue was 969 crores. Last year, it was 4,334 crores. You can see the transformation, the power, how it has happened. And the profit, more than 10 times. The company won the Deming Award in 2012, the fastest company to win a Deming Award. And quite a few magazines have taken this. This is the one which happened last in 2012. This Business Today has published, and they took the opinion of the experts from the industry, from the academia, and also from the consultancy. And they judged that this is the near perfect acquisition. So friends, Swaraj surpassed all the expectation of M&M. M&M investment, which at that time was around 1,400 crores, which was the largest investment done by the company, and everybody was telling that we have invested too much, returned within 3 years. Winner of the Deming Award and a turnaround story. Now, after my 30 years or more than that doing this job, here are some of my key takeaways. What are the important things in this? A forceful CEO, truly inspired for a larger goal, not for his personal. With full conviction, even fearing setback, is the one which is required. And then he has to create the missionaries of the leaders who can drive this change. And lastly, he should institutionalize through systems and processes. And the last parting thought, speed and improvement is in the performance vital for the success of Lean. However, it is the people who is the centerpiece. The main job is to improve their consciousness, enthusiasm, so that they take forward this continuously using the knowledge gained during the process. This is what I think I must like to say, it's not just making improvement. With this, I thank you very much. I thank a lot for your time.
I request Professor Somnath Ghosh, Dean Academics, to please come on stage and present Mr. Mishra.